What's happening? Sienna, Ryan Adams here with the Adams Group. Hey, wanted to give you a May 2024 market real estate update. Where's the market at? What's it doing? I'm gonna jump into the details. The first part of this, I'm gonna try to hit the basics, and then if you wanna keep watching to get the details and maybe some questions, we got a lot of questions that come in, so I'm gonna try to answer those as much as possible. Overall, the market's actually doing really well. It's very balanced. You've got some homes that are sitting a little bit, and you have some homes that are flying off the shelf. Again, as always, it kind of depends on what your home has that sets it apart comparatively to every other home. So if you're looking at your home and going, how's my home gonna do? I mean, I could give you a detailed analysis if you'd like. Feel free to comment. I'll be glad to get that for you. But if you're kind of looking from a general perspective, how's it gonna do? Well, here's a couple areas that if your home has something that sets you apart, that's gonna really help you do well. If you are one of many other ones that look similar, then it's gonna take a little bit longer. Supply and demand, pretty simple. All right, let's jump into it. Average days to sell a home, and this is over all Sienna, and I kind of take out new construction because it's a whole different ball game, but average days to sell a home, it's actually lowered a little bit from last year, and basically how I'm doing this is comparing April 2024 to April 2023. What happened then? What's happened as we closed out the month of April, and what does that look like for us in May? What does that number come out to? So average days is lowered, actually about 8% to down to 32 days. And again, of course, some homes are taking much longer than that, and some homes taking flying off the shelf. We had one last week that we had multiple offers for, and it was in the 800 plus range. And so it really depends on what your home has that maybe others don't. Average sales price, it's increased 6.6% overall. Again, this is resale to $625,979. That's an awesome, great news for you sellers. Home prices, and really what that is just kind of more of a inventory standpoint, where everything's at from an inventory. There's not much of certain homes that you might want, the buyers might want, so it pushes those prices up. Now it's going to contradict what I just said before this, but our inventory is actually up 41% in Sienna to 218 homes on the market. Of those 218, 111 are new construction, but inventory up almost double of where it was at last year. So we'll see how that inventory plays out, how long it sits, and the months go by, maybe our days to sell takes a little bit longer. But again, as I was saying, there's some homes that are flying off the shelf, and there's some homes that it's taking a little bit longer. Yeah, and then on that new construction, there's 111 homes on the market right now when we're filming, and their average price per square foot is about $206 a square foot. I would jump in and give you average price per square foot, but Sienna being such a large community, having homes that are, in the 350 range all the way up to 2 million, it's such a different game. All I can tell you is new construction, they're averaging about $206 a square foot. If you'd like to know what kind of your neighborhood, your type of home is, shoot me a message. I'll be glad to get you that analysis. All right, so that's kind of the overview. Again, I would say it's a very balanced market right now, probably still leaning in the favor of sellers. But again, it depends on the type of home that you have. Now we'll move to some more of the details, and I'm gonna answer some questions that I get a lot of times. Where are interest rates going? Good question. If I knew that, I'd be a very, very wealthy man. Unfortunately, this year, we haven't seen a lot of movement down in interest rates, which probably is keeping that inventory on. But those who really are motivated, who want that house that nobody else can get, they're willing to take the interest rates. I mean, like right now, I think like right around 7% for a 30-year fix. We were expecting, last year that this year would have 6 rate cuts by the Fed. Unfortunately, we haven't had any yet. We are still expecting 2 to 3. Here's what I will tell you, and it is still predicted that rates will get into the 6s and maybe even the 5s by the end of this year. If that does happen, lots of experts show proven data that the demand right now for buyers is so high, they're just kind of paused right now because they're like, do I really want to jump into a 7% interest rate? But if it gets in that 5 or 6, we're expecting a huge, massive pool of buyers coming into the market, which will probably eat up that inventory that we have that 40% increase on. Where is it going? I don't really know, but that's kind of where it's predicted. We'll probably have 2 cuts this year. Elections coming up, all that, we'll see how it goes. Are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market? Technically, we're still in a seller's market, and how you figure that out is how many months of inventory do we have versus how long would it take all that inventory to get eaten up per se if we never put a house on the market. We're sitting right now at about 3.5 months of inventory, which technically until you get to 6 months, we're not in a buyer's market. However, in some areas, it's gonna feel like a buyer's market, and in some areas, it's gonna feel really like a seller's market. And depending, and I don't mean just areas and neighborhoods, I mean type of homes, features you might have, pools, outdoor kitchens, those type of things are going way quicker than just a typical spec home that's out there. One home that I would say, and I'll get into this in a second, but one home that's really been struggling has been homes that are newer, maybe like 5 to 7 years old, that are in that 550 to 750 range. Maybe you came in and you bought that home when we were kind of the peak of new construction pricing, and now they've come down just a little bit, and it's hard to sell that home because there's so many other more options out there, including new construction, so those homes are taking the longest to sit. What price points are moving? Of course, as usual, the under $400,000 price point is always moving really good in Sienna because it's one of our lower price points, the hardest to get into if you're a buyer without competition. The market that's actually the fastest right now is the 800K plus market, and that is averaging around 20 days. So interesting, but less of those are being sold, but that is one of the fastest moving, and probably because there's less supply in that market. And then of course, as I mentioned, the slowest market in Sienna right now is about the 550 to 750 range, and that's taken about 65 days on average. Another question I get, how much is our home worth? Well, I'd love to answer that question, and I can't just give you a blanket. If you'd like a customized CMA, I'd be glad, reach out, be glad to help you come up with what that number is. No strings attached, just to give you that information. But to be able to give you an exact number, if you ask any realtor, that's a very difficult question without seeing your home, knowing your home, but I could probably be able to help give you a range. Advice for buyers and sellers. So here's what I would say. If you're a seller, home prices have gone up 6%. If you're in Sienna and you bought before 2019, before COVID, you should be sitting on a good amount of equity unless you've way overspent on your house or improved it. You should still be selling at a great equity standpoint from where you bought it at. If you bought it after that, maybe a different ball game, but overall as a seller, you're still able to gain quite a bit of profit from probably what you bought it to. Man, you guys that bought in Sienna, geesh, like 17 years ago, you are living the dream. Advice for buyers, here's what I would say. Right now, we have 40% increase in inventory, which means you have a lot more homes to pick from than you did last year. Yes, rates are high, I totally get it, but there's not as much competition right now. So you can choose your hard. Would you rather have more competition against other buyers, which is gonna, in a sense, make the prices go up, or take what you can get now at a higher interest rate, and when those rates drop, and most everyone in the world predicts that they will, then you can refinance and you got your home at a great price comparatively to what you will have to do if those rates drop and that expected massive amount of buyers come in. Overall, that's the market. I know that's a little bit longer than maybe you wanted to go, but that gives you a quick synopsis of where we're at. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out, and we love to help you in any way that we can. And hopefully this has been helpful for you, and we'll see you next month on this market update that we try to do each month. See you.